Hey, what is going on guys, Represent Stealth here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the S tier or God tier champions for every single role for patch 9.6. So to start off in the top lane here, we've got Kayle, Urgot, Riven, and Jax. So for Kayle in 9.6, originally I thought that she would be getting weaker in this patch, but I didn't realize her adaptive damage was being changed from AP over to AD in this patch, and that change is really helping her out, especially in the early game for 9.6. She also got some quality of life changes to her W and to her E in this patch, which just make them a lot smoother to use. And then there's also this setup going around right now on Kayle, especially in the higher elos, to where players are running the Kleptomancy and they're running this Trinity Force into Rapid Fire Cannon and then Infinity Edge build. So by taking the Klepto on Kayle, which is what most players are doing in this patch, it just helps you accelerate your build path there, gets you to your core items a lot faster. So the reason to why this AD crit build is becoming more popular in this patch is because the power of the AoE crits coming out with your E on Kayle is extremely strong there for the mid game. You also do have really good scaling on your Q and your ultimate with AD. They actually scale better with AD than they do with AP, so you're not actually really missing out on the scaling in any of your abilities by going for AD on Kayle. So if you haven't tried this new AD variant build on Kayle in this patch, then I would definitely recommend it. And then for Urgot in this patch, he went from one of the weakest top laners in 9.5 all the way up to one of the strongest top laners here for 9.6. So right now on Urgot, with the buffs he did receive in this patch, once you do get your W maxed out, you become a complete monster in the 1v1. You just have a lot more damage in your kit now with Urgot, so if you do get ahead in the early game, your snowball potential is way stronger than in previous patches. Running the Conquer on Urgot is the way to go for 9.6 as well. Conquer, you can stack that up very quickly on Urgot, and once you do get that stacked up, it really increases your 1v1 potential. Spellbook, some players are still running that right now on Urgot, but I would make the switch over to Conquer if you're still running Spellbook on the champion. For Jax and Riven, not too much new to say about them for 9.6, other than Riven is doing pretty well with Kleptomancy right now. A lot of higher elo Riven players are running Kleptomancy right now on Riven, and it just allows her to get to her Spirit Ocean, get to her core build a lot quicker. So by running the Klepto, you can just have a very early power spike on Riven. Conquer is still great on her though, so if you do prefer to run that on her, it's still great for 9.6. And then moving into the jungle now for this patch, we got Vi, Nunu, Jarvan, and Rek'Sai as your god tier picks for 9.6. So for Rek'Sai there, despite the nerfs in this patch, she is still holding on to S tier. In my opinion, the nerfs were not enough to drop her out of S tier for 9.6. Rek'Sai right now is still one of the best, if not the best, early game junglers that you can play for this patch. So if you want a jungler that can snowball the early game out of control, then I would be playing Rek'Sai for 9.6. For Jarvan, he's definitely no slouch when it does come to early game junglers. I would say right now he's even a little bit stronger than Rek'Sai for 9.6. Jarvan does have the potential to exert pressure as early as level 2. You can level 2 gank on Jarvan if you want to. If your bot lane is playing someone like a Thresh or a Blitzcrank who can have some CC at level 1 there, then you could just look to go for a level 2 gank bot. Also can look to go for level 2 gank mid and just get your lane snowballing really early on. He also does have some of the best mid to late game engage potential for any jungler. His engage range just allows him to pick out champions when they are out of position, and it just allows you to start team fights really easily with Jarvan. If you're looking for more of a utility jungler, more of a tank jungler for 9.6, and you don't want to play these like hard carry jungler picks, then Nunu is definitely going to be your #1 pick for 9.6. Nunu does scale pretty nicely into the mid to late game, also does have a pretty strong early game, and as long as you can get your lane snowballing with Nunu in the early game, if you can get them rolling, then you can do a really good job at just keeping your carries alive in the mid to late game, with 80 carries being a lot more impactful in the past few patches here and in this patch as well. Having a Nunu on your team to keep them alive is definitely not a bad option for this patch. And then as for Vi, she is a newcomer in the S tier in the past few patches here. She got those buffs back in 9.5, or it might have been 9.4. Nevertheless, it was in the past few patches here, and they really did help her out, especially for solo queue. Right now with Vi, she's doing great with the Aftershock as her keystone. She can also run the Shield Bash in that tree there, and with your passive on Vi, you're going to be proccing that Shield Bash a lot and getting a lot of benefit out of that rune. Also, Vi does scale a lot better into the mid to late game by running running the Aftershock on her, it does allow her to be a lot tankier there. So if you're still running the Electrocute on Vi for this patch, then I would definitely try out the Aftershock on her. It's not to say that Electrocute is bad on Vi right now. Aftershock is just a lot more consistent. And then for the mid lane for 9.6, we've got Ahri, Morgana, Malzahar, and Zed. So for Morgana and Malzahar, if you're just looking for a super easy to execute, very effective mid laner for 9.6, I would be picking up either one of the two. Morgana right now can do very well with either the Glacial Augment setup or the Aerie setup. If you're looking for more utility, then you can go for that Glacial Augment, go for GLP into Twin Shadows. It allows you to lock down your targets a lot easier. If you can like slow the enemies with your GLP in a team fight, you can very easily look to line up a flash alt play or something like that, or very easily look to line up a bind if you do hit the enemy with a Twin Shadow. So it's just more of an easier way for you to be more effective on Morgana. Also on the Ahri as well right now, the Glacial Augment there with the GLP and the Twin Shadows is doing great for her for 9.6. It just allows you to very easily line up your charm, hit that, and just provide your team with a lot of consistent pick potential in the mid game. And then for Zed, he was definitely on the verge of S tier in previous patches. However, in this patch here, he has bumped up into S tier with champions like LeBlanc, Zoe, and Salas, who were very strong picks in previous patches, dropping down. It does allow for a champion like Zed to move up into S tier. He's a champion that did get some buffs a few patches ago, which really helped him out. And then due to these indirect changes over the past couple of patches, it does allow him to move up even more. And then for AD carry, not too much has changed for this patch. It's pretty similar to where it was in 9.5. So right now you got Jinx, Draven, Vayne, and Sivir as your strongest for 9.6. So Jinx, she's been really good ever since the crit item rework. She just synergizes very well with all those crit items that did get buffed. So she's been a great pick for multiple patches in a row now. For Draven, he's also a very strong pick for this patch. Best early game AD carry that you can play. Right now, a lot of Draven players are swapping over to Kleptomancy with Conqueror just getting nerfed so much. It's just not really worth it for AD carries anymore, and it's just not as consistent on Draven. So by running the Kleptomancy there, you're going to be able to play aggressive in the early game anyways with Draven. You're going to be able to get the Klepto proc, so it just allows you to accelerate your build path really nicely with the champion. And then for Vayne right now, you would think with like Draven being a really strong pick, with some of these other early game AD carries being strong for this patch, Vayne wouldn't be super good, but she's actually benefited a lot from the way the bot lane meta has shifted, or for the way the support meta has shifted. So we're seeing a lot more of these heal shield supports being played in the bot lane right now. Nami is one of the strongest supports for this patch. We're seeing a lot of Soraka as well, seeing a lot of Sona. So these like heal shield supports being able to just allow Vayne to get past her early game, allow her to get to her mid game spike, does make her a pretty solid pick for this patch. And once you do get to your mid game spike on Vayne, once you get your Bork Rageblade, you become one of the strongest mid game AD carries in the game. And then for Sivir, just super consistent, pretty easy to execute AD carry for 9.6, going the Essence Reaver into PD and then IE does give you an insanely good 3-item spike on her, and she's just going to be probably your best autofill pick for this patch. So if you're autofilled as AD carry, if you get off-rolled, then Sivir is going to be the way to go for this patch. And then down in the support role to round out the video here for 9.6, we've got Morgana, Soraka, Thresh, and Nami. So Morg, Nami, and Soraka, all very good in the current meta. They synergize really well with the AD carries, with AD carries being a lot stronger in previous patches and in this patch as well here. They do a very good job at just keeping their AD carries alive, providing a lot of utility for their AD carries, and they're just overall really good support picks for this patch. And then one thing to note here for the Soraka and the Nami is that a lot of high elo or Korean pro players in this patch are going for an Athene's Rush on their Soraka and their Nami. Athene's Rush actually does have the best win percent as a rush item on these champions as well right now, and it's just a very underrated item on heal supports. The reason to why it can work so good is because it does give you a lot more healing potential. The heals coming out of your kit, and then also added on top of that from the Athenes does give yourself a lot of sustain there. And it's also really good against these AP support champions. So especially in lower elos, you see a lot of Zyra, a lot of Brand, even some Vel'Koz there. And by running the Athenes as a rush item, by getting that magic resist, you get 30 magic resist with the item. It does allow you to not get bursted out as easily by these support picks. So I just think that right now Athene's very underrated item. So if you're not building that on your Soraka and your Nami for this patch, then I would definitely recommend it. And then as for Thresh in this patch, if you still want to have a little bit of fun down in the support role for 9.6 while also playing a strong champion, then Thresh is going to be the way to go. If you are playing the champion, make sure you do ban out Morgana for this patch though, because Morgana's played a ton right now in 9.6, and if you blind pick Thresh and they pick Morgana, it definitely does limit your playmaking potential there throughout the game. So Thresh still a great pick if you know how to play him for 9.6. So that is going to be all for this video, guys. Those are the strongest champions right now for every single role for patch 9.6. So hopefully this does give you a good idea of what you should be looking to pick up, also what you should be looking to ban here in patch 9.6. So with that being said, if you guys did enjoy this video, then be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have yet to already. So thanks for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.